going on, everybody? You are live with Osiris. Welcome to the Author's Lounge. The world is filled with storytellers, and I, along with my guests, are here today in the Author's Lounge to help educate and inspire the young generation of writers and creators. Now, my guests are professionals in publishing, writers from a wide range of formats, and successful entertainers. They will provide beneficial advice on what to do and what not to do on your path to success. So, without further ado, I'll present to you our next guest. Let's go. Hey, this is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful moment that I have. It's not often that I get to interview individuals who may be considered the first of anything. My guest here has a filmmaker company. I'm going to let him disclose the details of what is going to be considered the first. But he is a filmmaker. He is the CEO. He is the founder and recently promoted executive producer, or is it executive director? Or maybe it's one of the two, right? Of ArtWerks Entertainment. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you, for the only time I'm going to say Mr. is right now, Mr. Michael Henderson. What's going on, Michael?
How you doing, Osiris?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay,
Is executive
you got that.
director
You
or
got
producer?
that. You got that. Cool. That means I can hire you as an actor because you follow instructions. Okay.
Yes, sir. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. I'm coachable. I'm coachable, man. So
Cool.
before I dive into what I was going to say, regarding, I just want to say thank you for taking this time to really just to come onto the show, spread your joy, spread your knowledge. Now we got to know each other a little bit beforehand, so I'm interested hearing about the similarities. It's not a stranger. This is what I represent right now. That's not me forever, but for those who are only listening to the audio version, I just showed my cover or my hat, my military gear, essentially. As there's a mutual connection that I have with Michael, who has also served in the armed forces. So before I talk about your film career and what you're doing there, I want to talk about how it was for you and what you learned just up to this point throughout the military and what you're willing to offer people who might want to be creatives, but they're also in the military.
Well, I served for 10 years in the Army,
Oh,
and traveled quite a bit as well too. Though, like from the East Coast to Germany to Korea, and then back to Fort Hood. I never lost the edge of creativity throughout all that as well too, though. And even though you're serving and you're doing your thing as well too, though, you always still have to make time for your craft. That way you make sure you don't lose it in any way, shape, form, or fashion. If you decide to stay in, if you decide to get out, you can still hone those crafts as you go. I kept that going as well too, though. I've always been a creative type, even from childhood. So that meant even in the military, I was doing as well too, though. I actually learned quite a bit about editing, film editing, believe it or not, in the military as well too, though.
nice.
And then after I got out, I did not go to film school.
Oh,
I did not go to film.
yeah.
Not go to
Don't
film.
have. Okay.
But I did, however, get connected with local filmmaking groups in the Dallas area. I'm from Dallas, Texas,
Nice.
and in the Dallas area as well too, and had an opportunity to work on short films, music videos, corporate videos, alike as well too. And I never lost that in any way, shape, form, or fashion when it came to creativity.
That's
And
good.
even like when I really got bit with the film bug, which was well before I got uh, into it, even before I even joined the military as well too, though. And you're bitten with something when you can remember the exact date, time, and what you were doing when it happened. And for me, it was December 7th, 1979, 7 p.m. in Dallas, Texas, sitting in a movie theater watching Star Trek The Motion Picture for the first time.
Oof. Yes, sir.
And I was already this horrendous Star Trek fan, but to get there and actually see what they did creatively, bringing it to the big screen was just awesome. I mean, there was a scene where they revealed the USS Enterprise for the first time, and you get an opportunity to see just how big that ship really was. Because think about it, on
Right.
television beforehand, you just saw it whoosh by or slowly orbit a planet, but you never got an opportunity to see the size and scale
Hmm.
And then when they showed it, this shuttlecraft with Kirk and Mr. Scott in it up against the bulk of the ship as well too, though, it was like, wow, it was just huge. And I got an opportunity to really truly understand the nuts and the bolts of things, because I'm a nuts and bolts guy. I like process.
Yeah.
I like how we put it all together. And that's why I enjoy film so much as well too, though, because
Yes,
even
sir.
though like you're looking at the VFX, the spectacle, how they shot it, everything as well too, though, there's always the how did they do that?
Right.
And that was the question I walked away from, with when I saw that movie. How did they do that?
Hmm.
And that kind of started the journey behind, what's going on behind the camera. You see every
Sure.
time you go to the movie, you see what they've done. Then it
Hmm.
becomes the idea of like, how did they do it?
Yes,
And how can
sir.
you utilize that for what you're actually trying to do?
Right.
Yeah, and then like the ongoing curiosity as well. Like I said, I never went to film school. I'm like Peter
Hmm.
Jackson, never went to film school. Wasn't trying to go. I wasn't like Steve
Hmm.
Spielberg got kicked out. I was I just never went.
Yeah.
I just never
Right.
went. But there was always that idea of being creative as well too. And then later on, but I wouldn't take the plunge until like what was it, 2011.
Hmm.
2010, 2011 time frame, where I did my first feature film, my first short film, my first feature film, and then I kind of got into videography for a while. And a
Hmm.
lot of people think videography is just simply just grabbing a video camera or a DSLR and just running around shooting stuff as well too. No, 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 no. There's a lot more than that, though, especially when you're dealing with clients, when you're dealing with people. And I've
Right.
done stuff for news services. I've done stuff for private companies, all manner of stuff as well too, though.
Hmm.
So, what would give me the audacity to try to put together a feature film, a major feature film?
Yeah.
Probably just the idea of like a personal goal to see if I could actually do it.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's what prompted what's going on right now as well too, though. Like say right before when I was November of 2023.
Hmm.
I had reached a crossroads in life to see exactly what I was wanting to do. And
Right.
I'm an empty nester. And I remember coming from a workout with my nephew, the gym, local gym.
Hmm.
And I decided to make a choice.
Hmm.
And it was either completely walk away from filmmaking altogether
Hmm.
or reboot everything,
Hmm.
start over everything, but this time go all in. Because sometimes when you're doing toe in, toe out, you really don't put the effort you could into it as well too, though. And
For
I've
sure.
worked, like I said, I've been in the military. I've worked in law enforcement for 6 years. I've worked for Fortune 500 companies. Talking about all the way from everything from Amazon to JP Morgan Chase. They always got my 100%. I never honestly put it into filmmaking the way I should have early on. So I decided this time that I was going to go all in.
Yeah.
And as soon as I did, I don't say this to brag, I say this to encourage people. The moment
Right.
you go all in and you take away the fallbacks, you take away the safety nets, that becomes that laser focus that you need in order to actually achieve your goal.
Hmm.
And when you do that,
Wow.
you'll be surprised what happens as well too. And all it took was
Mm.
one idea. I was sitting at the kitchen table, my sister was over, and we were talking about film ideas, and somehow
Hmm.
Rikki-Tikki-Tavi came up.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, because I remember seeing it, because Chuck Jones, who used to be an animator for Warner Brothers, did a
Yes,
series
sir.
of short films. He did Mowgli's Brothers, he did The White Seal,
Hmm.
and he did Rikki-Tikki-Tavi in the 1970s.
Hmm.
And I remember seeing that cartoon as a kid, and I was thinking, like, could that actually be? Could we actually fashion that as a film project?
Yeah.
And as soon as I did, you remember? I don't know if you remember Jerry Maguire, like Mike. There was a kid
Like Mike.
actor
Yeah. Yeah.
named,
Yep.
yeah, like the kid actor named Jonathan Lipnicki.
Hmm.
He's now he's still an actor, but he's also a producer that works for a company called Buffalo 8. And he had actually approached me about other film projects I had.
Right.
And we'd had a few meetings as well too, though. And then I brought up the idea of Rikki-Tikki-Tavi. He said, "What?"
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Yeah." And he said he would like to see a treatment of that, though. So I wrote a first draft. He really wasn't too happy about it. And then we kind of went over some notes as well too, though. And then he said these words that I will never forget. He said, "Well, just go back and put your magic on it." Because he
Mm-hmm.
liked the way I actually pitched other projects as well too, though. So I went
Right.
back and maybe like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks later, I revised the draft. I sent it to my oldest daughter, who's also a filmmaker and a writer as well too, and I
That's
told her
awesome.
to run it through the gauntlet. Do not tell me
Mm-hmm.
what you think I want to hear. Tell me what I need to know. And she
For
came
sure.
back maybe 3 days later. She said, like, "Dad, this is good. You should submit it." And without hesitation, I sent it right to Jonathan.
Right.
And he, in turn, about a week later, sent it to his uh, head of production for Buffalo 8.
Mm-hmm.
And they loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shocked. Now, Osiris, this I've written probably maybe like 15 screenplays, period, in
Mm-hmm.
my entire life. This is the first one I've ever submitted to a Hollywood level production company, and the
Mm-hmm.
first one to ever actually make it happen.
That's
And so now,
incredible.
roughly about yeah, yeah, it's crazy. Now, like 20 months, like less than 20 months later,
Mm-hmm.
we are on the verge of actually putting together a film project
Mm-hmm.
that, and it's not just any film as well too, like that. Rikki-Tikki-Tavi is a 130-year-old IP with a literal built-in fan base.
Yeah.
Literal. And the impact since we've announced working on the project has been so phenomenal. I
That's
had no
good.
idea what I was putting together when when I put it
Yeah.
together as well too, though.
Yeah.
And and it's crazy. It's crazy as well too, though. And it also actually helped launch the second phase of this as well too, though, which is like ArtWerks Entertainment, my company,
Mm-hmm.
is now poised to be Texas's first full stack film production company, and that means like from generating the original IP to release. That has never happened in the state of Texas. Normally,
Can you
Texas
can you
has
say that
tons
one
of
more time?
no, go ahead. Yeah,
Can you say that one more
ArtWorks
just for the
Entertainment right
people who
now.
didn't hear it?
Okay. ArtWorks Entertainment right now is poised to be
Mm-hmm.
Texas's first full stack film production company, the first of its kind in Texas. No other. There are tons of production companies in Texas, but they usually are part of just one part of the production chain. ArtWorks Entertainment handles every bit of the production chain from conception all the way to release. That is a Texas
Mm-hmm.
first. Texas has been known to try to
Incredible.
get film projects in it because films have been here before as well too. Everything from like RoboCop to 1886, 1887, all
Mm-hmm.
other projects as well too. Though have come here, but they're usually like originated from other sources outside of the state. This is the first
Mm-hmm.
time that a film project of this magnitude has actually been generated from inside Texas borders.
Yes. Man, that is huge congratulations, not just to you, to your team, to your family, because it takes a village, man, to do all of these things. And I think people who
Yeah.
come into to any business with this idea that no, I can do this on my own. I don't need help. I think one that's a mindset that probably should go through through some growing pains because you can't do it by yourself. No matter if no matter how heroic you feel, you truly cannot do it on your own. And imagine if you could do it with a team that has your passion and it has your ideologies and it has your tenacity to be able to go through on an equal level and make it happen. Like you had mentioned, pretty much once you pull that safety net away or that rug from underneath and say, there's nothing else. This is what you're doing 100% of the time. You're either going to succeed or you're not going to. So I love that approach because yeah, you're absolutely correct too, Michael. Because you had me thinking as well. In the time that I've been doing the military, and I know you can relate to this because you wore the uniform as well. And I'm at my 10-year mark in 2 months. I hit my 10-year anniversary, and actually my contract
Okay.
expires in October of 2026 which is when I plan to separate. But you are so correct in you're kind of you're kind of in. You got to pretty much put your focus on one of these things or something. It might fall apart. It may or may not. But still, at least you're giving a lot to the military. But you also need to give a lot to your creative side. Since you've stepped out of the military, you've been able to find more success in the artwork and the professionalism and the entertainment business. That's what I'm getting at. In the entertainment business, since you've been able to fully focus on that, and that's inspirational all in itself. And to be the first of anything is a milestone, but to be the first in the state of Texas, that's that's remarkable, man. And I just want to
Yeah.
say my hats off to you. I'm sure it took a lot to get to that point, but you are all there now, and all eyes for sure. If they weren't all on you now, I mean, then they will be on you now, not because of the show, but because of what your company represents. How did that actually feel? You took your own idea, you put it out, you got a team of people to follow in the vision that they may not have known what the end result would be, and you are at this point now. How does it actually feel for you? Just thinking about, man, here we are, here we go. We are revolutionizing the film industry in the state of Texas.
Yeah, I think for me it feels like, um, I guess you could say like illumination when it comes to that as well too, though.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't think you could actually do something, and when you really try, I mean, really honestly, have focus as well too. You actually find out that you can as well too, though. Because the main thing I had to do more than anything else was, it wasn't like hunting down people for this. It wasn't trying to do this, that, the other. It was to believe in the project and believe in myself to
Hmm.
be able to do it as well too, though. Because you'd be surprised at how many things we could honestly achieve if we just simply believed they could do it. And it
Yeah.
always starts with an idea. It always starts with that idea, but sometimes we don't
Yes,
think we're
sir.
good enough. We don't think we have the resources available. We don't think we could possibly get to that level as far as that. Yes, you can. And I, for one, wish that we as creatives would stop cutting ourselves off at the knees and listening to the noise and the rhetoric, and just really honestly believe in what you're actually trying to do and accomplish as well too, though.
Right.
Uh, I would have never thought for a moment that I could actually be leading this charge the way it is as well too, though. But that really still goes by me actually believing in it.
Hmm.
And once it still kind of goes back to the idea of being all in on it as well too, though, because that's going
Yes,
to
sir.
tell with every meeting. That's going to tell with every opportunity. That's going to tell with every stroke of the pen. And you'll find out there's a lot of things you don't really need to have ahead of time in order to get started. Look, Richard Branson started an airline without a single dime. Yeah, he simply took the knowledge and the information that he found and used it to his advantage. We need to
Right.
start doing more of that when it comes to achieving our goals as well too, though. Now,
Yes, sir.
I will say this: in a sea of filmmaking sharks, my dorsal fin's a lot bigger than a lot of people,
Yeah.
and that's for a reason. Because when I first started this, I started thinking about what I really wanted to get at it, though. And I remember being at a filmmakers mixer, and we had like this round table discussion. And when they got to me and they asked me what I wanted out of it, I said I wanted the box office.
Yeah.
Probably one of the boldest statements anybody could ever make at that point. But look at it like this: awards and accolades are cool. Film festivals are fine, but the box office lets you know where you are.
Yes,
They
sir.
really do.
The box office for sure. And
And
I think
if
that
your goal
oh,
in
sorry.
this isn't to make that achievement, what are we doing? I mean, it's either going to be something you're really going to be able to get something out of, or it's going to be an extremely expensive hobby.
Yes, sir.
And even though art, like filmmakers are creatives, they're artistic, you have to understand the business side of this if you really want this thing to work. Yeah, please understand the
Absolutely.
business side of it as well too, though. Yeah, a lot of people complain about it, but it's an essential part of it. They don't call it show business for nothing, because that's exactly what it is.
Yes, sir.
And if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. I'm going to see to it
For
that I
sure.
never work a day in my life.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah, for
So,
sure. Again, thank you for the breakdown and for the things that you and just how you even got to the point of where you got to. But when it comes to filmmaking, that whole procedure, how do you go from start to finish, conceptualize an idea of, I have this idea for a film. This is how I want it to be, and get it created and then get it through its finished product.
All right. Well, first things first, like I said, it always starts with an idea. And depending on exactly what you want to do with that idea and how you want to go about doing it, though, that pretty much like lets you know exactly what's going to be needed as well, too, though. So you're going to have to, let's say, for example, the very first feature film that I ever did, this original idea called Overpass. It
Hmm.
was based upon a story about, well, just from something I actually heard as well, too, though. And I thought it would actually make a good story. So I started conceptualizing everything as well, too, get the script together. Getting an idea of exactly what resources are going to be needed as well too, though, whether it's going to be location shooting, whether it's going to be at a studio, whether it's going to be, whether you're going to need VFX, whatever as well too. You have to kind of take all that into account. But also, depending on where you are, you want to get an idea of exactly who, where's it going after that.
Right.
Like, for example, there's a big difference between the very first film I did, which was just going to be something shown locally, as opposed to like Rikki-Tikki-Tavi, which
Right.
is going to be done globally.
Right.
And you got to think about your audience. You got to think about your audience, though. And I think about that heavily as well, too, when it comes to film projects, because I want to know exactly who's going to be watching this.
Hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with passion projects, because everybody has one. I have one of a few of my own.
Hmm.
But it's also about the idea of exactly whether it's actually doable and what you're going to do with it, though. Because if you want to just make something locally, that you want to show amongst peers and things like that, that's one thing. When it comes to something global, you got to think about your audience,
For
because
sure.
who's going to come see it?
Hmm.
Yeah. So once you have that narrowed down as well, too, though, we started actually breaking things down, like systematically as well, too. Your crew, your cast, your locations, if any, and start mapping things out as well too, though. And then you're gonna like have your meetings with everybody involved and start actually disseminating who's going to be doing the work. Because like you said, like it takes more than one person to actually do that, though. Even though like I've seen some one man jobs that have been done, they're real creative,
Yes, sir.
but they're usually rather short and,
Right.
and very contained.
Hmm.
So, but I'm not saying it can't be done. Then once you get an idea of that as well too, though, it's going to be the idea of actually translating from your mind to your script to what's going to be on camera
Yes, sir.
and what your audience is going to see. And if you don't have a good idea about that as well too, sometimes it's okay to wing it, but not always.
For sure.
Planning is always going to be a part of that as well too. So you have to plan everything out, though: the who, what, where, when, why, and how. Like for example, like on one of the shoots that I did on the very first film that I did as well too, there was an office scene, and while we were actually planning it as well too, though on location, I realized that on the outside there was no activity.
Hmm.
So I wanted to change that, because realism is everything, though. When you're creating a film, you're essentially creating a world.
For sure.
And you have to depict exactly how much detail that world's going to be in, though, especially if you really want it to look good as well, too. So in that particular scene, my principal actors were on the inside, but on the outside, through these big panoramic windows, there was nothing going on the outside, though. So
Yeah.
on cue, I actually took some of the extras we had on site and had them driving cars in and out of the parking lot and walking up and down the walkway on the outside as well, too, to give the idea that there's more going on in the scene than just the principal actors right there.
For sure.
Thinking like that kind of like pulls you into the idea that this is a real world. In other words, that sense of realism. That's what you want when it comes to that as well too.
Yes,
It
sir.
wasn't nearly as extensive or as complex as actually putting together the scenes for the films that we're doing now.
Yeah.
But early on, that essentially kind of like gave you that idea of world building, and that's exactly what you're doing. You're
Hmm.
building a world that you're going to showcase in front of an audience. Whether I don't care if it's like 25 or 2,500, it doesn't matter. That world that you're building is going to reflect on what you're actually showing as a filmmaker.
Hmm.
And if you're not thinking with that level of depth, you might want to reconsider that.
For sure.
And all it's going to do is actually reflect on you as a filmmaker as well too, exactly how much detail you put into the projects.
Hmm.
And you always want to have that sense of detail. So thinking that out as well too, and then when it comes to execution as well too, though, a lot of people think that scripts are pretty much set in stone. They're not. They're not. And with that bit of flexibility, you may actually bring something to the table as well too, though, because sometimes, like in my earlier works when it came to film, though, there's certain ideas I had that simply didn't work.
Yes, sir.
So if you have a little bit of flexibility when it comes to that as well too, though, you can actually create something that does work on the fly, and it happens more often than not, though. Even at the Hollywood level, it actually does. And then once you get to that point as well too, when you actually have everything you actually need, though, of course you have your shot list, you have your your entire like shooting schedule and everything else as well too. Once you actually get everything that you feel like you need. And sometimes even through that original shooting schedule, you might have to do like pickups as well too, though. If something didn't quite right, you have to reschedule that as well too, though. Yeah, it's a process. And then you get to the point where it's time to start editing and putting everything together. If you should already actually have an idea of exactly how you really want that as well too, whether you're doing the editing or you have somebody else as well too, though.
Yes, sir.
To really actually help put this and piece this whole thing together. Because at the end, once you're done with that, though, there's the bullet you're going to fire out of this gun of yours.
Right.
And if it doesn't work when it comes to that as well, too, though, you have two choices. You can either let it lay where it is, or you can go back and try to fix something as well, too, though. The idea is to make sure that once you put that out there, that's as close to what you actually wanted as possible as well, too, though. And that's an ongoing process across the board as well too. That comes from music, that goes for sound effects, that goes for any post-production effects that you actually have as well too, though. But that also depends strictly on what that is.
Yes, sir.
But you always want to, and also like the B-roll and all those additions as well too, and all this comes together in this soup, and you have to make sure that all those ingredients actually gel together, so that way the first person that tastes it likes what they have in the bowl.
I love that. I love that. I love that.
Constantly keeping that in mind. I constantly keep that in mind, though, well before we even start shooting.
Yes, sir.
And the more complex it gets, the more planning it goes in it as well, too, though. Like think about it, with Rikki-Tikki-Tavi, there was planning going on for this well in advance. Matter of fact, a lot of the preliminary plan actually started last year. And we won't get started on production until like September of this year.
Yes, sir.
And that's tons of planning actually going into this as well too, though, because it's a very complex deal as well too. But I wouldn't run away from the complexity of a project. I would embrace the complexity of it as well too, because here's where you get to learn. And even as the executive producer, the director, the writer, I'm still going in with that student mentality as well too, though, because I'm learning. I'm working with top tier VFX companies. I'm working with production companies as well too. We're doing virtual production on this as well too. In other words, no live locations. It's all going to be done on a virtual stage. And there's live action actors as well too, as well as CGI elements. So I'm getting probably the best hands-on education with filmmaking ever on my own project.
Wow.
Which I'm looking forward to and absolutely loving as well too, though, because all that's going to do is help me grow as a filmmaker, as a producer, as a writer, as a director as well too, though.
Yes, sir.
You don't necessarily have to be 100% at the top of your game. The only thing you have to do is actually have the vision and the drive to do so, and let the experts do the rest. Just like you were saying earlier about the idea of taking that team, we have a top-notch team working on every facet of this film. But at the same time, though, I don't feel like I'm some rookie because I'm the guy with the idea and the vision.
Yes, sir.
They're just part of the team to help bring the vision to life.
Absolutely.
And when you have that in your camp, you're great with it as well too. So don't be afraid of actually trying something new. Don't be afraid of actually stepping out and doing something different, because that's going to be the thing that actually sets you apart from it as well too.
Yes, sir.
Take it in this context. If you're doing a film and you have a film idea and you wanted to stand out with the pack, though, a lot of filmmakers don't think they can actually like stand toe to toe with Hollywood's best. Yes, you can. You honestly can. And I can do that as well too. For example, Rikki-Tikki-Tavi is a live action CGI animated fantasy film
Mm-hmm.
that needs elements to put it on a par with every other film like that out there. It
Mm-hmm.
also needs elements to set it apart from every other film out there, and that's what it has. When you bring that to the table, you've already won the game. You've already actually set
Sure.
yourself out there with it as well too, though. We as creatives, and this is across the board, not just filmmakers, but authors, photographers, musicians, we need to stop playing small when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to our abilities. We need to stop playing small and thinking that we're not good enough. We can't make the grade. You'd be surprised what you can do.
Yes, sir.
And all I would encourage you to do is just lean into that as well too. Lean into that creativity. Lean into that X factor. Because if you have something that really resonates with people, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't follow that through.
Wow.
It's just like that line from Man of Steel where he said, like, what if a child dreamed of becoming more than what society had intended for him or her? What if a
Mm-hmm.
child aspired to something greater?
Mm-hmm.
You can do that. You can do that with whatever it is. You lean into your gifts. Believe in what you're actually doing as well too, though. Lean into it hard. Put into it as much as you put into everything else, and watch it grow.
Watch it grow.
Yeah, and watch
Wow.
it grow as well too. Yeah, it can happen. You would be surprised. Like, I'm in shock. But when it came to this project as well too, though, I came to realize it wasn't so much as the idea of the project itself. It
Mm-hmm.
was the vision behind the project.
Yeah.
Yeah, the vision behind the project, though, and I'm still surprised that Disney didn't get it first. So,
Hey, the right
I'm
ones
really
got it.
shocked.
The one
Yeah,
right ones got
yeah,
it for sure.
exactly. And sometimes it's like that though, like a variation on a theme as well too, though. Perhaps it wasn't because I know. Have you seen that movie? What's that movie? Concussion with Will
I
Smith.
have Will Smith. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, or with Dr. Bennett Omalu.
Yes,
Out of
sir.
all the forensic pathologists in the world, he was the only one to figure out what was happening to those players
Right.
because it was meant for him. It was meant for him to find it. That's how it is when it comes to your dream, your goal, whatever it is that actually drives you as well too. Though there may be other people doing it though, but there's something going to be something specific that drives you to do so.
For
It's meant
sure.
for you. And when you embrace that and you step into that, though, you'll be surprised what you can achieve.
Yes, sir.
My mother, I was talking with my mom, and she was like, what advice do you have for people who want to get rich? I said, don't listen to broke people.
That thought. Yeah, that thought.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah, they can't tell you nothing. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
same way when it comes to whatever is your art, your craft as well, too, like that, though. You're doing yourself a disservice as an author if you're not listening to best-selling authors.
Right.
And and
That's a strong point.
yeah. Lean into your strengths when it comes to that as well too. Doesn't mean that people that don't do it are bad people. They're just not authorities on what you can do.
For sure.
They're
No.
not. And if someone's actually doing what you wish to do, lean into that.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to them. I have, I listen to the professionals.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to steer you wrong. They're not. They
For
have
sure.
nothing to lose. They have absolutely
Right.
nothing to lose. So, and what I would like to do here in Texas is also really truly take independent filmmaking to the levels it needs to as well too, though, because right now ArtWerks Entertainment actually literally bridges the gap between those high-end independent film production companies like A24, Blumhouse, Tyler Perry Studios, and the major studios like Warner Brothers, Pixar, Disney, things as well too. We're literally the guy in the middle
Mm-hmm.
because we can do everything that they can do
For sure.
and compete with as well too. And I'm not afraid to compete with them because technically I have no competition.
There it is. That's how you got to.
Yeah,
And I think that's
put
how.
your position.
Yes, sir. And I was going to say,
No,
I
go
think
ahead.
that's how it should be viewed. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, yeah. You have no competition as well too, like because it's not even about competition. It still boils down to the idea of the type of work you put out there.
Yes, sir.
And when it comes to film, I want to get back to the adventure days, the glory days that we had when it came to
Yeah.
filmmaking as well too, where you went to the movie theaters and you had fun looking at it, and you had fun with it though. Those adventurous things that actually happened as well too.
Yeah.
And Rikki-Tikki-Tavi is just the first. It's actually our flagship production for a 10 film slate, and some of the projects we have coming out, Osiris, you're going to be shocked.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait.
It's going to be. It's going to be. I'm having fun with this one. Trust me.
Yes,
Trust
sir.
me. We're yeah, we're addressing a lot of things as well too, though. Like the next one on the rung is actually an idea that was actually near and dear to me, though. Something I grew up with, though. Sinbad the Sailor. There hasn't been a Sinbad
Yeah.
film for
Since the
25
'90s.
years.
Since the '90s,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
yes, since the 90s. But yeah, with DreamWorks' animated version as well too. Well, this one is called Sinbad and the Keys of Destiny. It's actually
Hmm.
based on an original story that actually leans heavily into the folklore of
Hmm.
Sinbad's origins from the tales of 1001 Nights. And
Yes,
it's actually
sir.
something else that's never happened too, though. It's an origin story for the character.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Never been,
Very good.
yeah, never been seen before at all as well too, though. We get to meet Sinbad when he's 10 years old,
Hmm.
and we get to journey with him up to young adulthood as well
Yes,
too,
sir.
and find out how he became Sinbad the Sailor.
Yeah,
This
I
one's
think
going to be
that's
good.
something that's yes, sir. It sure will, and I think that's something that is absolutely needed. Something where people can see it, watch the story, and maybe go back and watch the original. So, man, thank you so much for coming on here, Michael. I got to get ready to end it. Unfortunately, I don't want to, but you understand the mission. I'm looking.
So totally understand the mission.
Yes, sir.
Totally
I
got it.
will say this for everything that the military has done for us. I am greatly appreciative of the opportunity, but I'm so looking forward to that next phase and being able to step into the business 100%. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, I can connect with you all in the. Well, we'll stay in touch, but I'm hoping to actually physically meet
Oh
you
yeah.
and meet your team down the road, and just take it in, and just put eyes on your dream, and just freaking touching inspiration, man.
Not a problem as well too. But you're on your way anyway, though. I mean, you built a following. You've got these amazing interviews as well too, though. You've touched on a topic, and you're really actually bringing a lot of good information to people, so that way they can actually understand exactly like facets of it as well too, though. So you're on the right track when it comes to
Yes,
what you're
sir.
doing as well too. And I commend you for the platform that you have and what you're building as well too, though. And I'm gonna tell you, just like I told my nephew, don't you dare give up on this. Don't you
Yes,
do it.
sir.
I will hunt
Oh,
you down.
copy.
Do not do it.
Oh no, sir. No, even though there were moments where I was kind of like, I don't know. I actually discontinued this show over a year and a half ago, but it wasn't on this format. It was just audio only. And then once I brought it back, and I'm seeing the results of what's happening and the positive feedback and how it's been helping people. And some people have even created their own shows based off of their experience here. They've been able to go and do other great
Exactly.
things, and it's all love and everyone elevating each other. But you are absolutely right about pretty much if you are wanting to be rich, don't take advice from people who are not. In that, if they're broke, don't take advice from them if you're trying to learn how to get rich. In the same aspect, one thing I learned with the show is getting advice from professionals. I knew that I'm sure I can go to people who are just writing books or who are just writing screenplays or who are just doing it for fun and probably make money from them selling it on Fiverr or something like that. But I had a bigger vision and a much larger impact on what I wanted and where I wanted my reach to go and who I wanted to get on board. Whether they're celebrities or they're people who are rich or people who are in the business, I know I wanted people who are proficient. At the same time, I still look for some people who have no sort of platform; they're not established at all, and I use this platform to help get them some sort of notoriety to help them out. So in every if I get, let's say, four guests every month, I tend to get a lot more. Thank goodness. Fortunate for that. But if I get four guests every month, those three out of those four will be people who are well established, and that one guest will be somebody who's not. That this platform can help them become more established and help them with their brand and help them with getting more connections across the social platform, and hopefully more people to buy into their product, not quite literally with money, though if that's the route they go, sure, but just to buy into them as a person and what they represent and what their message is to offer to society. I don't partner with people who don't necessarily align with my vision. My vision is just to help people creatively and be able to find some sort of lucrative business out of that, but to really educate and inspire them. And so when I have people like yourself come onto the show, or other creatives who are in the business, who are doing it for real, you just can't help but elevate yourself to a level that's close to theirs, or just as, or right on par with them. What is that phrase? If for every, I don't know, I might be misquoting it, but pretty much you are the company that you keep. So if you're hanging around a bunch of low lifes, you're
Yeah.
likely going to be classified as a low life. In that same notion, if you're hanging around a lot of people who are successful, widely successful, doing right, doing well, living humble, honest lives, you're likely going to emulate that as well. So, didn't mean to go on a tandem, but hey, before I close this out, you got any closing remarks?
Yeah, yeah. Lean into your dreams. You really can't go wrong with that as well too, though. You were given those dreams. The guy gave you those dreams for a reason. It gave you something as well too. He didn't tell you exactly how to go about doing it as well too. But if you take the time to really dissect that, you'll find out that it may be in closer alignment to what you actually want to do than you think. A lot of people think that, well, there's no way in the world that could possibly happen, though. You don't know. You have no
Right.
idea what's coming around the corner. You have no idea what if you just took that first step. And they don't have to be giant leaps. They can take baby steps when it comes to that as well too. It's for me, it's more of a controlled situation as well too, as opposed to take just blindly flying out there as well too. Though this has been nothing more than a 20-month controlled march, as opposed to that running start before you hit the wall.
Right.
Take those steps, learn along the lines of those steps as well too, and build as you go, and build
Yes,
as you go
sir.
as well too. Though you can't go wrong. You simply can't though. Uh, you know, Lean into your strengths, and your dreams, believe it or not, are one of your biggest strengths.
Yes, sir.
Don't
Le-
forego that as well too, and don't think for one moment that you couldn't possibly do it as well, because you never know, you probably could.
yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir. That is well said, Michael. And just a caveat off of that, just look at us, for example. Like, we took a chance on ourselves. I took a chance with this platform. He took a chance with himself, with his film production company. And though it may be on completely different scales, right? The vision is what we're talking about. Bringing your vision to fruition, and then other
yeah,
people will follow, regardless of the monetary value behind it. Though, if what you're meant to do is meant to also bring in a financial reward behind it, then that's even better. But it should always come from the heart. It should always come from within, and it should always
exactly.
be a specific message what you're trying to do. Because I think many people are misguided, and they have these ideas based off of what they see on the internet, or they see around their population of, oh, I want to do that, but they're not really connected to it. They just love the idea of what fame looks like, or what attention looks like, or what money must feel like if they have this in their if they're in this particular tax bracket. But they may not be ready for that type of lifestyle. So I would say just be true to yourself, be humble, be respectful, be open to ideas, and most importantly, just connect with your audience and connect with those who are in the same profession as you. And also, it doesn't hurt to have friends who are not in your profession, but they're equally as driven and doing what they're doing as well. It's all about elevation. All about
Exactly.
elevation. Yes, sir. Man,
Control
Michael,
that
thank you.
circle. Control
Oh,
that
yeah.
circle.
Yes, sir. Control that circle. Hey, man. Well, thank you all so much for taking the time out of your day to tune into today's episode. Hey, you're live with myself and Michael Henderson, and we'll catch you all at another time. Take care.
All right. Take care, sir.